Fantastic. Now we should be live. Great. Looks good. Welcome everyone to this Q&A. I hope you have a lot of the questions, and Yusin and I are looking forward to addressing them, answering, and helping you out, obviously, with what's happening. We're gonna go a bit away from what we used to do, where it was like on a quarterly basis we go through the report. I think this is not as relevant. What we're gonna do is whenever there's so we're also not gonna go on a regular schedule that we're like every month or every 2 weeks or something. Whenever there's a new feature coming out or a new cool product, what we're gonna do is we are gonna do these Q&As, maybe sometimes also with the product specific people, with the relevant people. So it won't always be Yusin and myself, but Yusin and I will do regular Q&As on the business, on the company, on everything as a whole. Additionally, we're gonna publish a bit more videos from the team with questions that are targeted at the team, and so that way it's I think a bit more relevant and a bit a bit more exciting for you as well. So yeah, what I would love you to do is post the questions that you have for Yusin and myself. So it's going to be less of a walkthrough through anything. It's really going to be a Q&A. So cake related questions. So we're not going to go off topic. So no general crypto questions. No where do you think Bitcoin's going to go by the end of the year questions. We do this at different times. So today it's really cake related questions. So let us know these questions in the chat, and we're gonna go through those. So it can be product related, can be issue related. Maybe you have some issues that seem to be popping up, and then I would love to kind of go and answer those. While questions are going in, Yusen, what was the highlight for you in Q1?
Hey, yeah, I think Q1 we had a massive growth. I think it's very clear on our transparency report. So a lot of users are coming in, and the highlight was okay. Maybe the consequence of our massive growth was that our site was struggling, a lot of issues, and it went down a lot. I think a lot of you noticed that, and our support gets gets asked all the time, why is the site so slow? Why is the site kept going down? And for us, all our engineers, I kept having to work long hours and and late nights trying to get that up. And so the highlight was that yeah, even over the weekends, when late nights, we get woken up and we calling each other and wake everyone up and try to fix things and making sure things run. But as of, I mean, the highlight is that yeah, we got our team really close, and also one of the key thing I think the servers are now way more stable now. Yeah, I think we had some automatic scaling in place as well, and we have a dedicated sysop guy, and he's done a great job there. And it's gonna get more and more stable. We're still on the way to to address a lot of issues, but it's way more stable. I'm sure it shows to a lot of you.
One question I would have, because I see this obviously from a lot of the community members, is why has the website been a bit on and off, in a sense that many times there was like a maintenance kind of wheel and a maintenance kind of sign, even though maybe for some other users there was no maintenance. So what were the technical reasons for that?
Oh, for that, I think that's a different issue. So when the back end goes down, the front end tries to detect if the back end goes down. And previously, there's some strategy that we use, like for example, if you can't hit the server or if it takes longer than a certain time to hit the server, then it's very likely that it goes down. So, but then the consequence of that is that if your internet is slow, or if you're on a slow internet, or if you're on mobile, sometimes it takes longer to hit the site, and then it mistakenly display that it is down. But and then for some people who manage to hit it, then it's up. So that's why there's some discrepancy there, and the front end engineers have addressed that a lot. And also the back end is way more secure now and way more responsive now, so you don't see that a lot now these days.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, that's good. From my side, I think for me the highlight, obviously, uh, yeah, yeah. For me, honestly, for me the highlight is the growth, is the insane revenue. I mean, we did $170 million in revenue. It's just absolutely insane. Looking back, yeah, 2 years ago when we sat down here at my place, I would have never thought that 2 years later we're gonna do 170 million in a quarter. So that, to me, that's just unbelievable. Yeah, doing having a profit margin, net profit, right, of yeah, close to 10% of that. So that's just super exciting. I think what and the reason, and so why would you as a customer care, right? So I think that's a fair point. Trust me, you want to have a business that is at the same time profitable, but also delivers a fantastic service at competitive rates. Also, we have started giving any employee that wants to get ESOPs, employee stock options, um, get them. And so, why would you care as a customer for that, right? You care because that means employees care. Someone that becomes a business owner, these people care differently, obviously, right? Because suddenly it's the business, and so I think these are all things that to me is really really exciting. Looking at it at a company, we're close to 50 team members now. Yeah, we're growing up. We're still startupy, and I still feel this, but at the same time, I feel, hey, wow, we're growing up. It's 2 years, and we're growing up. So yeah, that's fantastic. And yeah, kind of by law, we actually now required in Singapore with the revenues that we're doing, we need to get an audit. So we're gonna do that, and that's gonna bring hopefully even more transparency and more assurance to our users. And yeah, I think I think we're trying really well, and I think we found a really good mix there between being super user friendly and secure, but at the same time not getting bulked down with, I don't know, all the regulation hurdles and all the administrative issues and processes. I think we've found a really good mix so far, and I hope that going forward, we keep this nimbleness as a company, while obviously growing up and yeah, becoming a very serious crypto player. Um, yeah, we have over 500 million in assets that customers control in our platform. It's absolutely exciting. Like seriously, over 100,000 customers. I would have not dreamt about that 2 years ago. It's just insane. Yeah. Yeah, so that's a bit of the highlight for me. Obviously, a bit of the forward looking thing here. Let's go through a couple of questions. How about that? u-zyn, how accurate is the freezer program, and why does the APY, so the return per year, uh, change?
It is very accurate because we track it live. I believe there are two reasons why the APY changed. One is because of the burn that just happened, so there's a massive increase on the staking APY, and also the other thing is that the price of DFI goes up and down. Mainly, it's up I think the last couple of weeks, so you probably are seeing the increase there. So we're tracking all this live, so it is very accurate.
Yeah, and the return is now over 100% in the freezer. So, um, yeah, I mean, to me, absolute no brainer using it. If you're staking on the platform, I would at least use the 1 month freezer. That's the absolute minimum. I would probably go and start staggering your funds a bit. Also, just from a money management side, right? Why would you keep all your funds in such a short time kind of thing? Most ideas around money management are staggered, right? So you want to have some that are very long term, you have some that are very liquid. Yeah, so that's how this is structured. So I hope that kind of answers that a bit. Yeah, it is definitely up a lot. Yeah, so Giovanni says I have 1003 coins staked and frozen. Cool. Great. There was another question. Any spoilers on the new referral program? So let me spoil a little bit without giving it all away. A couple of things we want to improve. So we want to be clearer on how much you're actually getting. At the moment, this is a bit confusing. So a lot of people, they don't really understand how much am I getting, and it doesn't look or sound attractive, even though our referral program is absolutely amazing. So that is the first thing. The second thing, in the old program, people had to stake a certain amount of DFI in order to get the full benefits. We decided this makes no sense, because why having to stake something to get more benefits? DFI is not a company coin, it's not directly related to Cake. What's actually relevant is how much are you using the referral program. So what we're going to do, and we're going to adjust this, the more people you refer and the more these people deposit with Cake, the higher your referral income. And that's how it should be, right? So if you are just someone who refers one or two people, you're going to get a small kind of return. If you start referring a lot of people, and on top of these people are depositing lots of funds, man, you are one of our power user, a power referrers, and we want to incentivize you extra. So that's kind of the main gist of the entire referral program. Yeah, and then we want to also have the referral program over all our products. I think this is also something that people kept asking. So when am I going to get referral bonuses for staking? And so, yeah, this is also something we want to offer. Yeah,
I
definitely
just want to add
super
something that
exciting.
don't wait up for before we announce the referral program. Keep the referral coming. You're gonna get those benefits even you refer right
Yep,
now. So yeah, it's gonna be really attractive.
that is a good point. Yeah, we're gonna obviously convert everything automatically over. So yeah, if you want to start with all the benefits from the start, then have a lot of people referred with a lot of money on their accounts. Obviously, you can influence the referring. You can't influence how much people put on there, but yeah, you can uh, yeah, adjust your odds obviously there. Yeah. Um, what percentage of your crypto portfolio do you have invested in Cake products to get cash flow? It's completely variable in a sense. For example, on the staking side, we announced this. Our coins are not staking, so yeah. So some we use, but we don't get the rewards. Um, I mean, I can tell you from a risk or a commitment perspective, a significant part of my net worth, right, is in this entire company. So uh, just keep this in mind, right? I mean, uh, think about how much do you think a company's worth that's doing 170 million in revenue in a quarter. We want to do $1 billion this year in revenue, right? How much is a company worth that does $1 billion in revenue? um, who you are depends who you ask, right? Some people say, "Oh, this is worth $50 billion." I'm not sure, but hey, could be 2 billion, 5 billion, 10 billion. Who knows, right? So trust me, this is and at the moment. u-zyn and I share the company about 50-50. Yes, there are some parts that go to our team members. So let's say about 50-50. It's a significant amount. Believe me, I take very much care of that basket of eggs. So yeah, I just want to highlight that. Using anything you want to add there?
Yeah, I just want to add that as well. That like dog fooding, it's a very key metric for a lot of startups. Like if a startup has grown enough, you will see a lot of your employees and your staff start to use your own product because it's good. Like not because they're forced to, but because they're good. Like I know for a fact that a lot of our employees, if not all, I mean, I would say close to all. Like some of them is like probably just they probably can use it for a certain like there might be some countries that are not allowed to deal with cryptos. But uh, other than that, I think most of our employees have are using Cake, and they not only have salaries on Cake, but also things that I mean their own crypto investment get into Cake as well. So I think that's a really good metric that a lot of our employees see values in the work that we do, and they also put in their own net worth in the company itself, in the product itself. So dog fooding, I think it's a really good metric to measure. Is a company really solving problems, or is just yeah, is or you just creating a problem to solve that an existing problem to solve?
There's a question on the price of Cake DeFi. So at the moment, and we're not planning on having a Cake DeFi coin. Yeah, there's no plans on having a coin. So yeah, I mean, hopefully by 2025, we're going to be a publicly traded company. That would be a fantastic dream, right? I mean, there's still like what 4 years to go, so that would be an awesome dream to be public at 2025. So hopefully by that, yeah, we're doing really well, but there's still a long way to go. But we're not having any plans for a coin. Um, Today we're starting with KuCoin. What do you think is going to happen to the DeFi chain market cap? Using anything you want to comment there?
I think yeah, I think it should go up. But it's a bit unrelated to the Q&A here that we're doing because we're about cake. But I think it's good
Yeah.
for DeFi chain overall that we're adding more and more ecosystem, more and more usage to DeFi chain.
Yeah, and maybe and the reason I actually wanted to address that question was not so much about the price. It was really more about why are we actually pushing for that, right? I mean, uh, we have someone from Cake, right, reaching out to KuCoin and say, listen, guys, you should list DeFi chain. Obviously, by them listing DeFi chain, Cake is gonna get less revenue. So why do we do this? And the answer for this is very, very, very straightforward. Cake and as a group and as a company, we really believe in all the coins that we list, right? In some more, in some less, obviously, but we actually believe in them. Otherwise, we wouldn't list them and want to hurt our customers. So obviously, coins are volatile, right? So we cannot promise that that I don't know. We can't promise that Doge is not going insanely up and insanely down. I think you all know this, right? So I think that's really, really important. But for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, I mean, we want those coins to succeed because at the end, it's gonna help Cake in the long run. And obviously, the same thing is with DeFi chain. And the more other platforms actually list DeFi chain, the more valuable DeFi chain is gonna become. And maybe we're gonna have less people staking on Cake, but at the end, the price and the value and everything is going up, which for us is really good, right? So obviously, for us, one easy way to double our profit is for Bitcoin prices to go up double, right? Simple idea. So just keep this in mind. From the business side, I think this is a very important part. And the reason I want to point this out is I want you to understand how we think, right? And we always think at the end in a win-win-win position where I'm sure you want the Bitcoin price to double, you want the DeFi chain price to double, and so do we. And why? Because we all win with that, and I think that's really, really important in that entire part. That's why I actually wanted to bring it up. Um, there's a recent case in Singapore. I'm not sure for running away with huge transactions. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I know about that. There's
Uh,
some rogue, yeah, some company that has the fund got stolen by some of the staff. Uh, yeah, I think it happens to a lot of crypto
a
companies.
crypto company, really?
Yeah, yeah, it could be a scam and whatever, but it does
Okay,
deal with crypto. Yeah. So yeah,
okay,
for
I
ours, I
didn't hear
think
that.
we're started. We've always really focused on security, not just on the site security, but also on the fund security. Like every of our crypto holdings are always have multi-sig. Julian hold part of that key, I hold part of that key, and some Syncon partners also hold another part of that key. So we always need multiple keys to sign any crypto transactions. So your crypto is really, really safe. And for our staking part as well, it's all like kept on an not a live node out there. So even if the nodes get hacked, there's no point of yours gets compromised. So security is very, very important, especially fund security.
Yeah, like the whatever an individual or a hot wallet contains is absolutely negligible. For us, I know that sometimes people are complaining that our withdrawal times are a bit slower than for an exchange and everything. This is part of the reason. Yeah, there's not a single person in this company, not a single, right, that could run away with a significant amount of money. And yeah, I mean, and that comes at a cost, and that cost is speed, right? Yeah, so it's always a bit of a trade-off. We are going for security rather than speed in this case.
Yeah, that's a good point, Julian. Yeah, that's why our withdrawal takes a bit of time because we do have to fill up our hot wallet. We do keep a small amount of hot wallet just to process a small withdrawal quickly. I also want to add one more point. It's that all your coins, all your cryptos that are at Cake are all fully segregated from operational fund. So none of your coins get mixed up with operational fund. So all 100% of your crypto, it's all accounted for. Uh, so that's going to be very important when we're going to audit, because we're going to get audited pretty soon, and we will have to prove that every single crypto is accounted for and we are solvent. So we're gonna you will see that, yeah, once we do
Yeah.
that.
Will other coins be listed at Cake in general? I don't even want to go to liquidity mining. At the moment, we're not having any concrete plans to list more coins. At the moment, the focus is really to kind of get everything done that we want to do and really focus on having stocks, commodities, precious metals on our platform without doing the shortcut that, for example, Binance did, and that's why they got slapped by BaFin in Germany. They cannot FTX the same thing, Bittrex the same thing. They can't offer their products to most countries in the world. Why? Because they're actually securities, and we want to go a totally different route, and we want to be able to offer our service as a custodial wallet to hundreds over 100 countries in the world, and that would be the goal, and I think that would be absolutely game changing, and we want to do this year. I think this would be a complete breakthrough. It would, yeah, it would be such a value add for customers. That's kind of the target here. That kind of ties in also with what's an innovative idea here. I think that's really the main focus there. Yeah, using anything to add or to say or
Um, no, I think, yeah, you sum it up really well. Like whatever that we do today, I think that, like, let's face it, it's not unique, what we do here. Staking, lending, and liquidity mining, it's not unique. So the next one that we do with the synthetic stocks, I think that will be a pretty unique one in the world. It's not actual security, and you can trade 24/7. And Cake, it's not offering that. It's all secured by blockchain. So that's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, so many people always like when I talk to VCs or I talk to like media partners, they always say, "Oh, Cake sounds like a Asian version of BlockFi," right? Obviously, because BlockFi is such a large player in that space. And yeah, probably right now it's similar to that. I mean, I think we offer a bit more than BlockFi in a different way. I mean, BlockFi really focuses on fiat. For us, it's really about some of the innovative, more like high yield kind of things. But obviously I would love to move away from that and really do something where people are like, wow, cool, you guys are like the only ones kind of doing that. And so that's kind of the road we want to go. Yeah, so that's hopefully the goal for this year. Okay, just jumped, sorry, I need to scroll back up. Thinking of Cake, I always get a smile. That's awesome. Any update on the VIP program you can already share, Yannick? So the main update here is that it's going to be based on assets under management for the customer, right? So how much you as a customer manage on Cake, and yeah, so that's going to be the main metric on the for the VIP program. Yeah, and then we're gonna have like I think eToro has an interesting program, and so we want to go a bit of that kind of route. But that's going to happen after the referral program. When will you release the Bitcoin freezer or the Ethereum freezer? So there's two sides to that. On the one hand, this is an interesting one. We'll definitely work on that. On the other hand, a lot of people don't want to tie up their BTC or their ETH for like 5 years or 10 years. They want to do it for some, but not for like all. And the reason is because obviously on the lending side, it's impossible to give the same kind of returns than, for example, on staking or liquidity mining. So that is just a bit of the up and down side on all of that, and that's why it's not the highest priority. Because just from talking to people, I think a couple of people are interested, but not. It's not like the same kind of interest as, for example, on the staking or liquidity mining side. Yeah, using anything to add here?
No, yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, like what we can do as well, like on the lending service, we are actually talking to some of our partners to offer a longer term lending and a shorter term lending as well, because I think like right now we're doing 4 weeks. Is some we get some feedback that yeah, 4 weeks is it's too long, and some are saying like why we just get asked right here that can we even do longer? So we get both side of the request. So we're talking to our partners now to see if we can do shorter and longer. So that in a way it's a bit like freezer.
There's a question on the referral benefits if they're gonna get back calculated. So they're not gonna get back calculated in a sense that you're gonna get rewards for the past. But obviously we take a snapshot of when it starts, and whatever you have there is basically what's gonna count from that point forward. So yeah, so you're not gonna get, for example, rewards for staking from 6 months ago, but from that point onwards. And I think that's absolutely fair. How are 100% staking returns possible? u-zyn?
Yeah, so I saw that someone gave the answer that yeah, you're absolutely right. That it's because new coins are being issued. So that's on the DeFi chain side. So if you look at DeFi chain, there's a emission schedule on how the DFI gets issued every block. So some of it gets assigned to liquidity mining, some of it gets assigned to staking. And the way that it works is that the more nodes are being spun up, the lower the APY is going to be over time. So I think the APY that we're seeing here is likely going to attract a lot of people purchasing and running some master nodes, and over time I think we'll see going down again. The way that why it's so high right now is because we just burned a ton of DFI from the company, so that's why it got up so high. But I think over time it will attract a lot of people as well. So yeah, it's all economics, right?
Chicken Potato 00 says, if you want to start a spec, let me know. You please reach out. I mean, no concrete plans here, but yeah, maybe you drop us a message on support and just reference that, and we can see what ideas you have or where do you want to go. Like, no concrete plans, but yeah, sure, leaving the door open and see how this works. I think, to be honest, I really think Cake could be an interesting uh, acquisition target for a spec, um, long term. Yeah. Um, Wait, what is the next question here? Um, where should I liquidity mine? Directly on Cake or on the DeFi desktop app? u-zyn, what's your opinion on that?
Pros and cons for both. So if you want to maximize your liquidity mining, obviously you're gonna mine on your own on the DeFi Chain desktop app, because you don't have to pay Cake any fees. If you use Cake, you're gonna have to pay Cake some amount of fees for liquidity mining. And but if the upside of using Cake is that you don't have to manage your private key, you don't have to worry about node syncing and all that, and you just leave it to us, and you can track very independently how well your liquidity mining is doing, and rewards go in every 12 hours, like clockwork, right? So if you do it on your own, you have to manage nodes, you have to manage your wallet. If you lose your keys, no one can help you to recover that. No support or anything. So yeah, you decide.
Yep, I agree. And maybe it's not an or, maybe it's an and. So you use Cake and the app, and yeah, just de-risk a bit. I'm actually a big fan of that.
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea, and yeah, I like that a lot because if you do on Cake, you should also download the wallet and try to understand a bit more on DeFi chain as well. Download the app, maybe do a small amount there. You can basically get your hands dirty and understand how DeFi chain works. Yeah, and we're gonna have more integration with DeFi chain, like for example, like the stocks. We're gonna be integrating with DeFi chain, so that allows you to understand a bit more how it works in the background.
Hey guys, nice to see you. Nice to see you as well. Fantastic. Many countries are banning crypto or exchanges. How will this affect you guys? Um, I mean, I don't hear that many countries banning crypto or exchanges. I heard a bit of some cautious news from Turkey right now, but that was more on the actual payment side, not so much on the exchange side. So I haven't heard that many kind of negative things in that regard. u-zyn afterwards, maybe you have something to add here, but for us, and here, this is where really for me the strategic part comes in. There's a reason on why we are in Singapore and with Cake, right? And before we started Cake 2 years ago, like I nothing would have kept me here that like was for me relevant here. I don't own any property here. There's nothing. But to me, I just said Singapore is like many people treat Singapore as the Switzerland of Asia, right? And to me, just looking at the continents right now, I have America, I have Europe, I have Asia, I have South America, I have Africa. Like I look at all these continents, like yeah, some people are going to say Africa is like the upcoming continent, and that might be, but I just think it's really really early. The continent for me right now that's just the most buzzing, it has so many people, it is Asia, right? And you can see this, and Asia is just so dominant. And so yeah, for me, Singapore is like the Switzerland of Asia, and that to me right now with crypto is just a really really good place to be. Singapore's no country is perfect. I want to make this clear, right? I mean, every country has strengths and weaknesses. That's totally normal. You're not going to be perfect, but to me, Singapore is doing it really well. And I think especially from a crypto regulatory side, and you can see, I mean, why are so many companies coming to Singapore and setting up shop here? It's because the regulation here is trying to protect customers as much as possible, while at the same time not stifling innovation, not stifling the speed. And so I have not heard anything in Singapore about banning crypto. I mean, the largest bank here, DBS, is is going the direction of actually really offering like business to business services for crypto. So yeah, it's very unlikely that Singapore is going to ban crypto. So I would rather say we're on the safer side here. u-zyn?
No, yep. I got nothing to add there. Yeah, thanks.
I'm just looking for questions, so because some are repeat. Mm, okay, thank you. Great, that's fantastic. Sorry, I'm just scrolling. My learning, the 100%, we discussed this, how this is possible. Here, Tom. Tom asks you, then, do you have any plans on having a mobile app?
Oh yeah, good question. We have been the teammates are working hard on that. It's really getting close to release. Alpha release. I mean, internal team alpha release is gonna be. It's already out, so we're doing some testing. There's still some bugs. If we release it out right now, the support's gonna be mad at us because you guys are gonna write in a ton, and we have to address all that, and then we're gonna roll out. It's not gonna be far, so coming very very soon. Yeah, definitely in May.
That's also a good question, and it's not the first time I get this question from Henry. Do you guys have any plans to offer a read-only account API so that we can write monitoring systems that track our positions in Cake?
That's a good question. Yeah, we do not have it right now, but we can. Yeah, I'll put that to the devs, and we can consider that. Yeah,
Yeah,
good
Ben
request.
has Ben, our lead on Cake side for product and tech, had had voiced some concerns right now that yeah, maybe this could be an extra security kind of issue, and we don't want to open anything up right now, and just yeah, for us it's really about the scaling side. But I think now we're really at a larger stage where, I mean, and we're getting this from left and right, right? We're getting this obviously from tax reporting kind of services, and we're getting this from like companies who want to track those returns and so on. So it's definitely like something that we need to integrate. What are the risks in lending? What are the risks? How does it work? I mean, look, there's always a certain amount of risk, but we tried to limit it as much as possible. And we actually limit it down all the way that we have a capital guarantee from Signum, which is a super, super, super large fund here in Singapore. So there, to me, there, I wouldn't know how to better protect um, our capital, right? And our I'm talking about customers here, and I see myself as a customer, right? And again, I'm seeing myself in the same shoes here as you, because I am in the same shoes here. So how do I protect our capital even better? I wouldn't know, right? So there's to me there's no way how I would know how to do this any better. Um, the way it works, Sparrow, which is also an institutional and regulated, or I mean, just like us, going to be regulated here in Singapore. No one right now is regulated by MAS. They haven't regulated anyone, but every one of us is in this same kind of pipeline here. And Sparrow uses those funds, pools them together. On the one hand, they're giving them to large exchanges, lend them there, where people use them for leverage trading with spot, for example. There are a few other strategies that are proprietary on how they're doing it. One thing that we've discussed, because this is also obviously something we want to give to the customers, is actually a transparency system there. So this is something we also want to set up so that you can actually track and trace those coins and see that the coins that we're reporting we have are actually in the system, and so you can completely see this transparently. So this is also something we want to set up to increase obviously trust by increasing transparency. Yeah. u-zyn, anything to add?
No, we're trying to we're trying to be as transparent as we can because that's our goal from day one when we start Cake. That we want to do things in the most transparent way that we can. Sometimes like there's obvious things that we can't, like for example like the lending that we do with our partners. It's like for technical reasons that they can, but we have been in talks and trying to work out some sort of API where we can track the money, we can track where the fund goes, and once we get that, we're definitely going to open it up as well to the community for those of you who use the lending service to track that. Yeah.
And I mean, u-zyn, you know exactly who I'm talking about. I'm not gonna reveal the name here because this is just not correct. But look, we got approached super aggressively by various funds on insane returns on Bitcoin, and we always turned them down. And the reason we always did was because for us, this was just like I was just not sure how this was gonna work or how this could work, right? And look, and you can see, like, why do you think, for example, BlockFi is completely cutting down on their returns right now? It's because, in my opinion, they really kind of misspeculated a bit on the grayscale premium or on the kimchi premium. And yeah, that's just, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm assuming here, and I know you shouldn't be assuming, but there's a reason on why our entire strategy, and I want to be super clear, our lending that we're making is razor thin calculated on the profits, right? So us giving you 5.5%, whatever Bitcoin does, right? That's like razor thin. And I know why our like other companies, like, why were they so aggressive in the past and now they're suddenly like, oh no, sorry, we only give 0.5% on Bitcoin. It's exactly because maybe they miscalculate a bit, and I think we have always tried to err on the cautious side here. And I was, yeah, I still remember when I remember, you remember that phone call? I went on the phone, I was like, man, I just, I don't know, that just feels super weird. I don't know, I wouldn't do that. And then Yuzun, I still remember, I said, no, we should definitely not do that. Like, that is like, we put our funds on unnecessary risk. And yeah, so we always try to err on the side of caution. I think that's the only right thing to do.
Yeah, I remember that very, very clearly. Yeah, like a couple of months back, I think we were still getting requests from our users like why it's our rate lower compared to our competitors and all that. And like for us, do we want to take a higher risk or do we want to stick to what we believe to choose the only the safest partner that we can find? So we've always think that yeah we will stay safe because it's our customers fund. We don't want to yeah we don't take too much risk with that. And now I think we can now see that our rates are no longer one of the I mean no longer low now. I think you can see that a lot of our competitors have adjusted the rates, and now I think yeah you can probably see what's happening now. Like a lot of that is marketing fund that gets spent to attract customers, and now that's depleting, and now it goes back to what's more realistic on the lending rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason says, okay, done. Frozen for 10 years. Cool. Wow. Uh, yeah, that's a super solid commitment. We posted in a blog post. Using my coins are partly also frozen all the way until 10 years. So welcome. Same boat. Guys, is it possible to implement more coins for staking like Litecoin? No, so it depends on the consensus algorithm. Litecoin is using proof of work, so there's no staking. You would have to do mining. I'm not sure how profitable that is on Litecoin though. So yeah, for us Germans on Cake, the fees are totally worth it because of the tax report. At least in Toby's opinion. Oh, great. Thanks. And I mean, look, um, and there's also a flip side to that, right? Always consider the following: whenever you pay for a service, and even though you're not paying it out of pocket here, but basically the rewards are paying it, but still it's you paying for the service, you can be sure that you are not the product, right? You are not the product. So we're not going and selling your data, and we're not going and there's so many companies out there who do exactly that. And I can 100% assure you, this is not what we do. We're completely transparent about this. You're okay with that? Fine. You're not okay with it? Do it yourself. Absolutely okay. But I just want to highlight that as well here. Um, Eileen says Singapore has way better food than Switzerland. I mean, obviously that's a subjective taste, but I like the food here. Um, okay, the API, we discussed this already. Um, Jeffrey, don't confuse Cake DeFi and DeFi chain. So Cake DeFi will never be decentralized because we are a company that offers DeFi services on a one-stop platform. So Cake will always be a company, and by definition, that's going to be a centralized system. Could you think of beta testing of the app or new services in general in the future? I mean, I could definitely foresee this using. How do you see beta testing?
Do you think we, I assume you want to be part of the beta testing program or something,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's something that we can probably think of. We do have a staging site, so maybe, yeah, I have to talk to Ben and the development team. Maybe we can consider that to have some of the, maybe they could be part of a VIP program or something, right? If you have a, yeah, certain amount of fund, maybe you can participate in that staging program. You can get your voice heard a bit more. Yeah, that's something that can be considered. We already have a staging program. I mean, internally where we test the QA testing and all that, so we can actually open out to some of the users to get some feedback.
Yeah. Will you allow me to buy BTC with DFI on Cake? Not easy to take money out. David, we don't want to become an exchange, so Cake will not offer that service. One thing we're gonna look into is it possible to offer like a third party service, similar how, for example, the fiat on ramps that we have integrated, they're not done by us. We're basically using a third party service. So we're gonna look into if this is gonna be possible. Then yeah, you can basically go from Cake into the third party, do the swap there, and then you basically can come back to Cake. On Cake side, from anything that I understand about regulation, the crypto space, and how I just personally foresee the space going forward, is that most exchanges are gonna pull the short stick out of all the who has to jump out of the plane without the uh yeah without a parachute. And I think the hosted or the wallet providers that are not exchanges, they're gonna have an easier pass. And maybe I'm wrong on this, but let's see. And so yeah, just looking at how certain uh, competitors of ours are struggling because they are exchanges and we're not. It's I think that's going to be very, 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 very underestimated going forward. So and we want to keep that advantage. So we see it as an advantage, even though maybe right now you see this as a disadvantage. Fair. This is more of a long term view than short term one here. Eileen asks, how are the lending returns calculated by Signum? They're supply and demand, Eileen. For us, they change actually constantly. So what we are getting, we're not pushing the change to the customer. Sometimes we get slightly more, sometimes we get slightly less. Yeah, sometimes we make a bit more than 15%, and sometimes we make razor thin zero, or maybe even just slightly below, and over the year it just balances out. So yeah, unless we would hear from them that now the returns are permanently lower, then we would have to lower ours to the customer. But so far I think it's been very, very stable. Yeah. I think you're going to do some public events in some cities all around the world after COVID. Yeah, definitely open to that. I think there's definitely a need for that, and people want to have some closer interaction again. So yeah, for sure. I mean, um, again, the key point here really is when is travel going to resume? Singapore has done really well with COVID, and they have locked down the border in a sense that you have to go in a 2 week quarantine. So I can go out, but coming back in is a bit of a challenge. And so yeah, for now I'm not traveling. Yeah. Um, there's rumors that Grayscale Premium was driven by arbitrage traders. I believe that as well. So, but that's a story for a different topic. Will you offer Ethereum 2.0 staking in the future? Mario is asking. Usen, that's a question for you.
Yeah, that's not really on our roadmap right now, but I wouldn't rule it out. So we will see how it performs and how it does. There are a lot of staking services on ETH2 out there already today. So we'll also have to evaluate then, like how does it fit on our engineering roadmap, and what does it gonna look like for us. Like for now, we don't have it on our roadmap right now, but I won't rule it out completely.
Yep. Could you explain simple words how we get paid with from staking? So staking is just like mining Bitcoin. It's a consensus algorithm that creates those coins. So the blockchain does it. It's not us. It's the blockchain. We integrate those blockchains like Dash or DeFi chain, and whatever these coins get created, we get those coins, and then we take our cut out and then give the rest to the customer. So yeah, it's a bit different in a sense to, for example, lending with Bitcoin, because there it doesn't come from the protocol itself. So that's a bit of a small difference. Yeah. Yusin?
Yep. Yeah. So for staking, it's basically like mining. So it's new coins that have been created. And for Cake, the fees is 15%, so we take 15% from whatever that comes out from there, and then the rest will just split it to everyone who has a staking share uh, doing staking on Cake. So in a way, like there's two advantage for you running it on Cake, right? So if you run on your own, you're not gonna see a staking reward peer so consistently every time, because if you stay, you get a chance of getting a block, or if you're unlucky, then you have to wait longer. For now, I think for DeFi chain, I think the average time is about 4 days or 5 days, if I'm not mistaken. So if you run one on your own, you're gonna get higher return, obviously, because you don't have to pay the fees, but you're gonna have to wait like 4 or 5 days. And if you join Cake, then you're part of the bigger staking service, and then as long as any of the nodes gets a block, everyone gets it. So obviously you have to pay some fee there. So there's pros and cons.
Two good questions from Steven, Singaporean. The first one here is, great project, guys. I have a morbid question. What happens if something were to happen to Julian and or Yusin? Knock knock. Obviously, we hope this doesn't happen, and hopefully Yusin and I have a long, long, long life full of fulfilling days. But I think it's a fair question. Um, so I mean, obviously either one of us getting out of the company would be a massive blow to the company from either side. I mean, there's no denying there. But let's say let's play worst case scenario, and let's say the company would not function anymore, and we would decide, okay, sorry, it doesn't work out anymore. Which again, like, would be the unlikely scenario. But let's really kind of play devil's advocate here for the customer. Um, from what I can see, and we had people actually look into the structure, there wouldn't be any issues in, for example, paying out every single dollar to the customer, winding up the company properly so that everyone is being paid. That I wouldn't see any issues there. We've done, I think, really well. That yeah, everything is while still being multi-signature. There's still enough um, like security points where if something were to happen, there would be ways to retrieve certain keys and so on. Yeah, using anything to add?
Yep, like for our holdings on the fund, we're putting in multi-sig, and like Julia and myself, we hold each part of that, and then we have some of the trusted parties so that hold parts of that key. So if anything does happen to us, they can be retrieved. Uh, and also for like the company has gone big enough now that there's an engineering team and all that, so they do. I mean, they don't have the key, but they do. Like they have access to all the like the system, and they get to see how much you have. So it does, if it does wind down, then you can get paid out of the rightful balance that you have at Cake.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, we hope that nothing ever happens. But I think also the way the company is structured, it's starting to be an actual company, meaning it's not dependent on a single person. Which doesn't mean that I'm okay losing anyone. Not at all. I want to keep the team, every single person. But yeah, I think that's really important. Yeah. The second question here from Steven, it's a bit of a different question, and here he's kind of doubling down in as far that he says, "What happens if he dies?" And how hopefully, knock knock, Steven also has a super long, prosperous, fulfilling life. So hopefully, this will never be needed. One feature that is already in the backlog is to have a feature where anyone can put email addresses in, and if you don't log in for a certain amount of time, these email addresses actually get notified about there being funds on Cake and these people please contacting Cake. And so we thought this is the legally easiest way, because otherwise it gets a bit complicated from like, so how do we make sure that the right person actually contacts us? So this is all like a bit iffy and tricky. So we thought, okay, the easiest one is people just fill in email addresses that if they don't log in, for example, for 90 days, and they're going to get notified obviously before, they're like, hey, if you don't log in like in the next week, like we're going to email out a notification to those 8 emails that you filled in. So please log in, right? And so let's say something were to happen and you don't, then it's going to take maybe 90 days until, yeah, people actually receive those funds, and then they can contact us. Just like in any case, like if you have stocks on any kind of platform, and then they can contact us with yeah, with a testament or a will and something, and then they can say, hey, no, yeah, this should be transferred. So I think this would be a really good solution, actually.
Yeah, yeah, Jordan is right that we have that on backlog and something that we want to implement. Hopefully this quarter, if we can squeeze it in. But even before that, I think for any service at all, if you hold crypto, like you should not be counting on the site to have that kind of service, even though it's on our background, we want to have it. That I think you should list it down on a piece of paper or anything that you should pass it to your loved ones. Like if anything should happen to you, then please contact these sites or this insurance company that I purchased from. Then please reach out to them. Yeah, if anything happens to me, hopefully it doesn't. But yeah, still gotta prepare for that.
Yeah. I love Cake, love the project. It's simple to use that. It's super nice. Thank you. Love what you're doing. Great work from you and the team. Keep it up, and you'll have a great future ahead. As do we, as your customers, Yannick. That's super nice. Um, how often do you feel like Bruce answering emails from the movie Bruce Almighty? That's funny. Good job and thanks. Great. Thank you. Um, losing my earpiece here. I'm sorry if you guys already answered and maybe I missed it. Will I get more options for freezing or lending in the future? Like, which ones are you aiming at? Um, so at the moment, it's yeah. We have the Bitcoin and the Ethereum and the USDT side for the lending side. There it is something on the roadmap that we want to offer maybe different tenures, so different lengths, right? So a bit shorter. This was requested by a lot of customers. Maybe also a bit longer with a higher return. So these are things that we're going to look into. To be honest, they are not the super priority on the roadmap right now. Like if you look at the our point of view, right? So one thing that I can spoiler a bit, and something that we want to launch is something like a quick start. And the idea behind it is, right now our entire site is structured around the products, which for a new customer is a bit confusing, because a customer might not know what staking or liquidity mining or lending and so on is. But what the customer knows is, do I own Bitcoin or not? Do I own Ethereum or not? So the customer is going to know that. And so the way we want to approach this with this quick start is a second kind of site almost, right? Where the first one is for those people that are already signed up, they know what it is, they're a bit more experienced, right? So for you, nothing changes. But for those that are really new, they're gonna see a bit of a different outline. And the outline is more like, which coins do you have? Ah, you own Bitcoin. Great. Let me show you the options. And then what's the next question that people have? How much can I make? What are my risks? Right? So it's becoming more of a dialogue from a more newbie kind of person. And so that's more what we are working on, rather than offering like a new service here or there. Because obviously at the end, for us, what we are really interested in is, how can we get more customers, and how can we help them obviously deposit funds with us and use our services. So that is, I think, a bit of a important one. So yeah, thanks for the amazing responses, as well of thinking for us and our families. Yeah, Stephen, definitely. And we're actually, since you're in Singapore, we're looking into actually doing a Singaporean meetup here, probably in June. Yeah, we're probably going to limit it to 50 people, because the government is very easy on the 50 people limit. But let's see, maybe by June, the regulation here in Singapore has opened up even more to have more people. So yeah, let's see. I don't know if this question has been answered. Is there also an API to track your portfolio? Daniel, we kind of covered this briefly. At the moment, no. It's going to be something that u-zyn is going to put into backlog.
Yep. It's playing the backlog actually. But a small trick, if you can actually use it. Our site's actually a front end static site, so if you are technical enough, you can figure out the API yourself. But again, if you do that, it's on your own. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. So then, just questions on coins. I think this is not that relevant for Cake. So, um, Blockchain Guru says, when I freeze for 10 years, can I multiply that amount by 300? Because DFI will probably be $1,000 in 10 years. Sure, you can do this for your own calculations, but obviously, no one knows what the price is going to be even tomorrow. Yeah, I think you all know that, right? There is no real link and overview of all the upcoming features on Cake. If you go to cakedefi.com, you scroll down, you see a bit of a timeline. The reason is, we don't want to promise about new features. We just want to deliver features and hope you love them. And we don't want to promise and say, next year this is when it's going to happen. In 3 months this is what's going to happen. Because yeah, at the end, as a company, you mostly lose when you do this, because most of the time you take longer than planned. And yeah, u-zyn and I are the two owners in the company, aside of the employees. So yeah, and you as a customer, we always try to give you everything as fast as possible, and when it's ready, we really want to give it to you. But before that, I think there's not much of a point in promising things and then maybe being slow. So Emily, I didn't see your question. Is your question invalid? I'm sorry. Is DFI tied to BTC? So the reason, and Daniel, watch the community videos on DeFi Chain on that. Go to the DeFi Chain YouTube channel. Daniel and Lord Mark, they made some really nice videos explaining on why there's such a strong correlation. It's because the massive liquidity pool that really kind of ties those two coins together. So that's why also DFI has been doing really, really well. And is really kind of and to me a no-brainer for anyone that holds Bitcoin. So yeah, it's not invalid. It's absolutely okay. So no disrespect. I just don't want to discuss coins or opinions on non-cake. So yeah. There's a question for you, Yuzen. Temple Vinyl says the chain and space needed for its growing at an exceptional rate. I mean, it's a DeFi chain question. Maybe you want to answer that. Is there any solutions to the space problem that DeFi chain has?
Um, DeFi chain currently doesn't quite have a space problem. It does have a growing problem because the chain is designed to be like native DeFi. So a lot of things it computes immediately without having you to put in another request to like claim your rewards or things like that. So that's why it's taking quite a while for you to sync up from scratch. But I mean, we shouldn't be talking about DeFi chain here, but just a quick one is that on the next release that we're going to be having, there will be some major optimization on the calculation on that. So usually the first one is where we try to get things out and correct, and then the second iteration is where we're going to start to optimize things. Yeah, so that's kind of where the trend is going.
JDM import says, can you unfreeze? So you can only unfreeze at the end of the tenure, not in between. That's important. So Shield says, I just froze for 10 years. I'm having my cake and I'm eating it too. I love it. That's great. Kunga says, amazing customer journey improvements. Thank you. Could you make videos where you also explain for newbies how this all works? Yes. So Eileen is actually on this also with some animations to make this super, super easy to use. So that's going to be important. Where will we be notified for a meeting in June? We're gonna announce this everywhere. If you are a customer of ours at Cake, then we'll filter out Singaporean customers and email them as well. Why did you call it cake? Because we want to allow everyone to get a slice of the cake. I think it's a really nice term. Your bottlenecks, hiring. My goodness, it's hiring, hiring, hiring. If I could like have a magic wand and solve something right now, it's the hiring. So we are go to, and that's maybe a nice ending to. We promise to stay under an hour. A nice ending. Go to cakedefi.com/jobs and yeah, if you're interested, join us. That would be really key. That's kind of my ending to all that. u-zyn, anything from your side to add?
I just wanna, yeah, I just wanna pick up some questions that probably accidentally skipped. Like Henry did ask about the current backlog in processing liquidity mining rewards. So I think it's only happened like for today because we're having some node issues, and Fabio did tweet out in the community that we're doing some maintenance on our node, and right now it's all functioning and stable again. So it should be payout on the next cycle. So we do a payout every 12 hours. And so you're going to be expecting like a double your payout when that gets processed. Yeah. Yeah, like Julian says, yeah, we're hiring and we have more and more jobs opening at Cake. We're growing really, really fast from technical and non-technical jobs. So do apply. Uh, and yeah, and thanks to all of you for supporting us and following us along the journey. And it's been really nice seeing all of you giving all the good feedbacks and good questions, and really enjoyed this evening answering the questions. And thanks.
Yeah, man, and we are 150 people live. That's also unbelievable. 143 right now. So thanks. Yeah, really appreciate it. Thank you from the entire team. Again, there will be Q&As from various team members. Where we want to split this up a bit where when it's more like company related, using I talk about it. When it's more product related, then you also know what it's about. When we, for example, launching the referral program, we're gonna go specifically with people who were involved there, right? So yeah, that way I think for you there's more value in the Q&A, and it's more on topic and not so much okay, what did we do in January when it's now April. So I hope that's also interesting for you. So thank you all. Thank you so much. Stay safe. Happy baking, less banking, more baking. And thanks so much for all the service and support. And yeah, see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.